Hey there, everybody, it's your old pal Michael. Like my haircut I got? Nice and smooth. Just got that actually today. So, gonna feel a lot more better, a lot more aerodynamic. Got a nice run in on the track today. No race. No race is actually until August 6th now. So, what I'm gonna do instead for the next few weeks is I'm gonna actually put out a couple of running videos that pertain to some specific things I want to talk about. Excuse me, I want to talk about running. One of them in this video, we'll be talking about the dream races that I want to run, and those could be like any distance, and those aren't like in the area per se. They're going to be a little outside of my area, so like races I want to travel to, and all the dream races that I really would like to run are ones that I have like a kind of a connection to in that area, except for maybe like one of them, just because it's like an ultimate dream race that you want to do if you're like running this certain distance. Then, maybe we'll do one more video before I come back racing again. I think we'll talk about either marathon or half marathon races I'd like to run in the future, because I'd like to at least run 10 each for my running career, and I've got one marathon and two half marathons done. So I just want to kind of mention the ones I've done and then talk about the ones I'd like to do to complete those 10 at least sometime here in the future. So it's going to involve a lot of training, obviously, because I really was only thinking, well, let's do one marathon. But now I'm like, no, it wasn't bad, even though the last 8 miles, like I had to run them. Not too bad. I'd like to definitely do it again because I'd like to try to do it without stopping. I think it was just because my shoes were worn out and my like lower part of my back started hurting. I think that was really the main issue. So we're going to start here by talking about the dream races I'd like to do. And I've got a few on the list. I think I might have put 10. Yeah, it looks like I put 10 on here or 9. We'll figure it out in the end. And these aren't going to be in any particular order at all. First one I'd like to do is I'd like to do the Big 10K. If you know anything about, college conferences, for like sports, that's referring to the Big Ten Conference. And so it's the Big 10K is what they call it. It's it's a 10-kilometer race, 6.2 miles. They also have a 5K there, but I figured, if it's called the Big 10, let's actually run the 10K. And so this takes place in Chicago. I'm from Michigan, so I like the Michigan Wolverines. They're my favorite college sports team next to Western Michigan. So I'd like to, go run and support the Wolverines. And, you can actually do that because they give you, when you sign up, they give you the choice of, what shirt do you want to wear for like what team you want to represent. Obviously, I choose Michigan, and I'd run in that shirt, and I'd have a great time running in a Big 10K and this huge group in Chicago. I'd really love to do that. And afterwards, there's like a big party that you get to like take part in. There's like mascots there. You get to interact with all the other people that just ran. A bunch of activities for you to do. So it's not just a race. It's like a all-day event too. So that'd be really fun to take part in. Next one is the State Games of America. So if you've seen my running videos where I did the Meyer State Games in Michigan, that's basically the same thing, except it encompasses all 50 states. And how you get involved in the State Games of America is you actually have to qualify to be in this. So how do you qualify is you end up finishing in the top 3 places in your age group for the event you do. And if you manage to do that, then you qualify for the State Games of America. And that's actually coming to Grand Rapids next year in 2017. So I will be there participating in that. That will be in August. And it would just be so much fun to run with, athletes from across the country. Because, I don't get a big chance to do that in a lot of, smaller races like 5Ks and 10Ks, unless, they're around a holiday time. You might have a few people come in from out of state that are running. But otherwise, most of the time it's just people, right from around the area that I'm running with. So that'd be cool to compete with people across the country and see how I would compare with them. Now, with actually the State Games of America being in Michigan next year in Grand Rapids, technically I don't actually have to qualify because I read the rules. As long as I'm just a resident of the state of Michigan, I can actually just go sign up. But I already actually technically have qualified because I did place in my age group in both the mile and the half mile, so I will be, I am eligible to go either way. I'd rather qualify, just with winning, a medal and getting in my age group. So that'll be fun, and plus they'll have probably a big opening ceremonies, and they're gonna have all the different sports. It's just not track and field, so there's all the sports that you can play in at the Meyer State Games will be in the State Games of America. So it's going to be a big, big event. The next one is an ultra marathon, and it's the only ultra marathon I want to do. I know I said that for the marathon, but I really do only want to run one ultra marathon, and that's the Kal-Haven Trail Run. It starts in Kalamazoo, and you run all the way down the Kal-Haven Trail all the way to South Haven. Not a whole lot of people do this race. It is 33 miles. It's probably, I think it's 33.6 if I remember. So I mean, it's a little, about almost 8 miles farther than an actual marathon race, which is 26.2. Why would I want to do such a big race like this? Well, number one, it's in the area. Number two, it's also part of the Kalamazoo Runner Series if you do the solo race. Now, I would not be against doing it as a team afterwards, whether that be a 2-person team, 3-person team, or a 6-person team. I would, love to take a chance and run in that. You run along this beautiful trail, that's used for people to bike on, to run on. And, like I said, you start in Kalamazoo and it goes all the way to South Haven. Now, this past year, the race, they moved it up into April. Because there was issues before where it would, it'd be really cold, it'd be really snowy, and the course would just not be in great shape. Well, unfortunately, we got a snowstorm in April this year, which, covered the course in snow and made it kind of some hard footing along the way. You're basically going to be by yourself a lot of the time, like I said, because there's not a lot of runners unless you're going to run with somebody. So you'll have a lot of time to be thinking about a lot of, thoughts to yourself. But, you got all that beautiful nature around you too. The pathway, is really great. I guess it's like crushed limestone is what you're running on. But, it'd just be fantastic to actually say that I did an ultra marathon. The next one I'd like to do is the Fifth Third Riverbank Run 25K. It's just so I can say I've also done a 25-kilometer race, which is about 15, I think it's 15.5 miles if I'm not mistaken. So it's just a little longer than a half marathon. So it's a distance I know I can handle since I've done a half marathon and I've done a marathon before. It's a distance I know I can handle. A lot of big-time participants, big-time runners will come and compete in the Fifth Third Riverbank Run. I've done the Fifth Third Riverbank Run 5K before, but I definitely would like to step up and do the 25K at some point. Just to also say I've done it, it's close to the area, and like I said, it has a special connection because I've done the 5K twice, and it's a lot of fun because there's so many runners that do the 5K. I think 5,000 to 7,000 runners have done it before, and I've placed in the top 100 for the 5K, and that's pretty impressive. 25K, I don't know how I'd place really, but I think it'd be a lot of fun to do, definitely. The next one is the Cedar Point Half Marathon. I like to go to Cedar Point at least once a year, and I figure, if I can go down there, do the trip, and get a run in while I'm there, I think that'd be great. It's an event that Cedar Point started a few years ago, where I think they started maybe with just a 5K, and now they've upped it to a 5K, a 10K, and a half marathon. And basically, if you run the half marathon, you actually get free entry into the park for the weekend. I believe it was you get free entry into the park for the weekend. I think you get a parking pass as well. So I mean, just imagine that the race entry buys you that. And it does, it's a little costly because of all the perks that are thrown in there, obviously. But I mean, think about paying for a race, let's say that you did the Kalamazoo Marathon around here and you registered late, and I don't remember exactly what the late registration was, but it might have been somewhere between $80 and $100. Might have been the late registration cost. Well, down there it's it might cost $80 to sign up early, but basically think about it. You get to go into the park, you run the race, you get your parking pass. So that's just that's a lot of fun. And of course, how fun would that be to run around the park and then go out and run in part of the town of Sandusky? So I figure, you go there. If I go there once a year, one of these times I could go and participate in that. The next one is the Grand Island Half Marathon. Um, my uncle has a cabin up in Munising, actually just outside of it, and we like to go up there and stay. I haven't been up there in 5 years. It's a shame I haven't been because I love going up there. Hopefully, we can start going up there once a year again. In fact, actually, if you're watching this video, the next week I'll actually be on vacation, being up there. So you're gonna get to see a lot of videos from the cabin and seeing the sights up there as well. But what it is there's an island just outside of Munising, and you're running around this island. They have a half marathon, they have a marathon, and I think they have like a 50-kilometer run as well. And I'm pretty sure the run is all on trails. I've never done it before, but I figure, vacationing up there, it'd be really fun to run that. I mean, I could train, I could go up there, I could run the race, and then I would think I could enjoy the week. Because what I wouldn't want to do is go up there and then run the race like right before the day. I'd have to come home and then drive back. I mean, my legs would be tired. Even running half marathon, my legs would be tired, especially if it's on a trail. But it'd be really fun to see the sights up there, and pretty sure the course isn't going to be very easy as well, but that'd be a lot of fun to do. Next race is the Mackinac Island 8-mile run. Now, Mackinac Island puts on 4 races per year is what they do. They have this Mackinac Island racing series. And, of course, Mackinac City and Island is where Kathleen and I honeymooned last year in 2015. So it'd be really fun to, go and run around the island. We got to go over to the island for 2 days, walk around there, played golf, played mini golf, explored the town in the front area as well. And I think that if I remember correctly, the 8-mile race, I think it just runs along the outside of the island. So I think you actually avoid a lot of the hills in the center of the island. So, I mean, imagine that running, and this entire time to your left side or your right side, whichever way they send you, you've got a nice lake around you that, you're running by, which would be Lake Huron. So that would be fantastic. I mean, it'd be a fantastic view for a fantastic race. And I mean, I think you feel good the entire race, really. And I figure an 8-mile run, I mean, that's something I could probably do pretty easily. The next race is the Glen Arbor Solstice Half Marathon. Glen Arbor is where I used to go for cross-country camp, and I went there for 3 years back when I was in high school. And I took Kathleen up there on our way for our honeymoon to Mackinac City last year as well. I hadn't been back there, boy, since the year 2007. So it had been quite a long time since I had been back in Glen Arbor. That's been 8 years or so. The town, really hasn't changed a whole lot, but, I showed her around town. I showed her where I ran cross-country camp at. That's just a lot of fun being up there. It's a nice small town in Leelanau County, just outside of like where Traverse City is. So, and I've heard the half marathon course is pretty hard, if I'm not mistaken. But I loved running up there. We ran in the dunes. We ran along the road. We ran on some of the trails. Just beautiful area up there to run in. I'd love to take part in that race. Now, this next race is one I don't have any, like I said, any connection with, or that's around the area in any way or whatsoever, but it's the Boston Marathon. I'd love to qualify for Boston and go run there. I mean, think of how prestigious this event is. You have elite athletes that come here to run it, and you have just people like me who would go and run in a race like that qualify. The Boston Marathon qualifying standards are not, they're hard. It's not meant to be an easy race to qualify for. So if I'm probably going to qualify for this, I'm probably not going to be running in Kalamazoo to try to qualify for it. It's probably going to be a marathon somewhere else, whether that be Chicago. I've heard Indy is pretty flat. I might go run the Indianapolis Monumental Marathon. I believe that's what it's called, at least. Something, like that to try to qualify for Boston. I'd love to go there and catch a Red Sox game, either before the race or after the race. Since the race is on a Monday, I mean, I figure, probably run the race and hang around Boston maybe a couple of days later and then come home, I would think, or maybe do it a couple of days beforehand, whatever I would do. Um, but yeah, like see Red Sox game, check out the town, check out the historical sites, run in the race, obviously, and then I mean just seeing all the sites would be fantastic. I probably, if I went and ran the race, I probably would not run it very hard because I figured I really would like to take in the sights. I'd probably run it at about an easier pace. For me right now, to qualify for it, I'd have to run about a 7-minute pace for the whole 26 miles. Obviously, I'd have to run a little bit faster to start because I'd want to bank some time there because, of course, I'm going to probably end up slowing down. Um, but that would take a lot of hard training. I don't think at my age I'd try to qualify for it. I think I'd wait maybe until maybe I'm around 40. Unless the time standard does go up again, I don't think I would try until that point. And then the last race I'd want to run, and this one actually isn't all running. It's the Gaulic Triathlon. I'd like to take a shot and participate in at least one triathlon. And the Gaulic Triathlon, I heard, is a pretty flat course. I mean, of course, the swimming is flat, obviously. Now, that's going to be my weakest part because I don't get a chance to swim a whole lot. I do know how to swim, but it's not a whole lot. And I think the swim for that is about 100 yards. And I think you got like a 10-mile bike ride and then you got a 5K. I can bike, but I don't really bike with any speed, so I'd have to train and do some speed work with that. The running portion I could probably handle, but of course, I'm thinking, right now, yeah, I could go out and run a 5K, no problem, but that's running after the fact you've swam and biked. So my legs probably would be a little bit tired, but I think I could probably handle it. And I just, like to, take a shot and, try to do this. It's like doing, like when I stepped up into the, a 10K for the first time. I want to see if I could do that, or a half marathon or a marathon. Same type of deal. Or, like I want to do the ultra, the 25K, the 8-mile run, the triathlon here. I want to see if I can do it. And I think I can accomplish it. It's just going to take a lot of training. It's going to be one of those events where it probably, for the whole summer, I would probably just run in 5K races and while training for this, because obviously I'm not going to be able to train for this and maybe one of these other races on this list at the same time. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and now you know some of the dream races I'd like to participate in someday. It's going to probably take some time to do all of them, just like the marathons and half marathons, but someday hopefully I'll get there. If there's any races that you were looking forward to always running that were maybe not in your area or were a little outside your area, post those in the comments section below. Drop a thumbs up in this video if you enjoyed it. Otherwise, thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel for more content. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Links are in the description below. And next time you see me, I will be up in the Upper Peninsula having a lot of fun. Hopefully, you guys will tune in and check out some of the sites with me. So this is Michael Loudon, over and out. See you later. And you like my haircut? Drop a thumbs up if you like my haircut as well.